we back outside. Last year, our small studio released our first commercial indie game, a block-shoving puzzle game called Stig. The release went well, and apart from a few small bug fixes and patches, we haven't had to do much with the game since launch. So we've started to think about new ideas for our second game. We've had multiple ideas for different games, but have decided to explore one specific idea further. After our brainstorm while discussing all the potential game concepts we've come up with, we realized that this is an idea we're excited about and that we have ideas for how to expand. We also think we could realistically make a prototype in a reasonable amount of time without losing steam or motivation. The inspirations for the game are Mini Motorways, Dwarf Fortress and Oregon Trail. We would take the arcadey, scenario-based gameplay of Mini Motorways together with the simulations of Dwarf Fortress and present it in a very simple visual style, similar to something like Oregon Trail. Put them all in a blender and you get Madtown. This is not the final name of the game, but it's our working title for now. Also, it's a temporary name of the Godot project folder, so it might as well be the final name of the game at this point, right? At the core of the game, you have your money and the city you're running. Under the hood, this city is just a table of keys and values. The values are the stats that make up your city, the population, the amount of food, the number of criminals, and so on. Since these stats take up so little memory space, we'll be able to have a huge amount of them. So that's the idea. We will model as much as we can about a single city, except anything regarding geographical space. Only key and value stats. Each stat can also have a minimum limit, a maximum limit, a limit where they're considered okay, and a limit where you lose if the value crosses the threshold. Having these limits means we can show each stat as a progress bar. We also have ideas of grouping stats together to be able to show them in different ways, like a pie chart or stuff like that. But these are just ideas for now and not something we've built yet. Gameplay-wise, the way you interact with your city is by investing in it. For example, if your city has a lot of unwell people, you might want to invest in a hospital. Or if people are hungry, you can invest in a supermarket. So by monitoring the stats of your city, you're able to make investments and help it grow. There are also random events occurring while you're managing your city. There's a chance your population increases due to babies being born or new people moving in. There's also a risk of an earthquake destroying a power plant. Or the pollution in your city might increase the risk of people getting sick. Maybe something happens to their lungs because they live in a very polluted city. So the stats you already have affect how likely certain events are to occur and also how large the impact of the events will be. There will also be events that require the player to make an active choice. Take a loan in order to get money now but be in debt. Or stay broke and don't afford the necessary investments for the people to get food. This will throw some curveballs at players, preventing them from playing it safe and forcing them to make decisions, even if none of the choices are particularly good. Finally, we would let the player pause the game in order to look at their city and really think before making decisions. This is another element lifted directly from Mini Motorways. The core gameplay loop would be to invest in your city, monitor its progress, and make decisions when necessary. In the long run, we would like to have different scenarios to choose from. Perhaps one scenario where the likelihood of crime is super high. Or a scenario where you're running a colony on Mars and the needs of the city are completely different. But for now we're focusing on a minimum viable product with just one scenario and the necessary base stats. One of the reasons we chose to explore this specific game idea further was we started to think about weird achievements the game could have that you would not see in a normal city building game. Like the mayor escapes to the moon, or zombies are robbing the bank. Since the plan is to have very few visual elements, adding the stats and events necessary for these kinds of weird achievements is basically only limited by our imagination. So that's one of the long-term goals we're aiming for with the project. So that's the basic idea of the game. Obviously it's still on like a concept level and we're just toying around with ideas, but I would still like to show you what we've made so far. Keep in mind that this is a prototype and we've focused more on the system aspects of it than UI or gameplay. So just a little bit of trigger warning before I show you what the game looks like right now. So here we have the current state of the game. Down here to the right we have the time controls that I was talking about. So as you can see, the game is paused. Over in the lower left corner, we have the available investments. I have 3 options currently available: a farm, a police academy, and a coal power plant. So far we've made it so the starting investments are always the same, and then the next investment is picked randomly from a list if I were to invest in one of these. Then up in the middle are the current stats. As we can see, the food and power are on their way down because people require food and power. Up in the right corner is our overall health. This is the lowest distance any stat has left, going from its OK limit to its defeat limit. So since the population is lower than 20 right now, we are not at full health. Then we have our money and a box that will display any random events occurring while we play. So let me resume the game and we'll see what happens. Food starts dropping immediately because the people are eating the food we have left. So let's buy a farm and try and get some food production going. Food is now going up, so that's good. But power is now decreasing even faster since the farm requires power. So we build a coal power plant to try and change that. Now both food and power are increasing, but also we are getting pollution from the power plant. And our population is still dropping because we didn't manage to get enough food in time. And then we lose the game. One of our main challenges with the game right now is fixing this pacing issue. It's really stressful in the beginning unless you pause the game immediately and build all the necessary investments. This will frustrate new players, and they will probably lose their first run before even understanding what's going on. But we're working on it. So that's the prototype for our next game. We're maybe not sure that this will be the final game that we release, or if this will be a prototype that we learn from and throw away. But we'll keep working on it for a while and see where it leads. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. Peace.